Alrighty. See what we've got today. I see Nocturne, Hinterlands, and Cornucopia Guilds. So, no landscapes, but we got a pasture in place of one starting copper because Shepherd is in the kingdom. And then Necromancer. How do you see the trash piles? It's not going to show the zombies from this view, but in the trash pile, there are 3 zombies to start. Oh, that took me a second. I was trying to figure out why Necromancer is even relevant. It's the card that's set up under Ferryman. Okay, so for draw, there's Stables and Shepherd, both of which actually kind of disincentivize trashing. Shepherd very strongly discourages trashing estates, both because it can turn estates into draw and because with pasture around, estates into being worth more points. And then Stables, not necessarily a reason not to trash copper, but it's a reason trashing copper is less urgent. You can cycle past them, and you want a deck that has some amount of treasures in it so your stables don't dud. For villages, Border Village and Ghost Town. For plus buy, Spice Merchant played terminally can get plus buy. And Haggler can gain things, Develop can gain things. That should be enough to get something going. Develop actually, I think, looks pretty good here. There's a lot of stuff at varied price points, and you can develop stuff into a border village, which comes with another 5, and then you develop the 5 back into another border village, another 5. The 5s can be ferrymen, which come with 4s, and so the gains I think are going to proliferate if you start playing develop a bunch. I think that'll be relevant. And then trashing, Spice Merchant trashes coppers, develop can trash. I mean either really, but it's more of an estate trasher. And then Necromancer playing Zombie Mason can trash stuff. That could also be relevant. Unfortunately, I think probably develop is just going to be the better trasher, so it's likely not to come up so much. But an interesting way to trash would be use Ferryman to get a card into your discard pile, and then use the Zombie Mason effect to upgrade it. That actually is most likely to be relevant in the end game. Like if provinces are at 2, but you only have 1 buy, and you want to take the last 2 provinces, you could discard a province, trash province into province, and then buy the last province. That happens sometimes. Okay, how to open? Hmm. Yeah, like I said, I don't think early trashing is actually all that important. I'm thinking Silver plus Shepherd, and then ideally get a Haggler into the deck and start buying border villages with Haggler in play, gaining 2 5s at a time. Sometimes you don't throw in a develop and then start developing like Ferryman back up into border village and gain another 4 cost off of it. I think on 4/3 I would consider maybe Shepherd Ghost Town. Doing it in the reverse order does not work out so well because you draw the extra card here where you don't want it. Okay. Didn't hit 6 for Border Village. 5 is perfectly satisfactory. Alas, my poor Shepherd has bottom decked. I'll take Ghost Town now. Really want to maximize the chance that this hand has a bunch of victory cards in it. Well, still only the 1. Can I find my Haggler? Nope, no I cannot. Okay, my bottom 5 cards have 1 estate, 1 Haggler, and 3 coppers. I'm only hitting 5 there. Could that be an urgent enough reason to take a Ghost Town? Very well might be. Hitting 6 with the Haggler hand is a lot of upside relative to 5 because you can buy Border Village which comes at 2 5s. So I could do like Border Village, gain a Ghost Town. That's going to slightly trigger a shuffle, and this shuffle is like, it's not terrible, but it's mediocre. It has my Shepherd and some victory cards in it, so on a good day it could go well. I think it's just not important enough. Haggler could just buy a Ferryman and gain a Ghost Town and set me up for the following turn. So I'm just going to take a Border Village and a Staples now. I think Ferryman, second Ghost Town. Uh, copper. The, yeah, this worked out. I was gonna say the upside if I find my shepherd of keeping an estate is really big, and if I don't find the shepherd, I'm probably gonna hit 6 anyway, and the one money's not gonna matter. I just barely hit 6, so I almost got proven wrong, but not quite. Okay, just another border village because it's free, and kind of thinking about develop already, but I don't think my deck is quite together enough. This is a sad shepherd. I'm not sure I want to trigger this shuffle. I kind of have to. 3 is a terrible number with Haggler in play. My goodness, I don't like this hand one bit. Problem is, Haggler only gains non-victory cards. I wouldn't particularly care if I had to gain an estate. Like buying a 3 and gaining a copper with it sounds gross. I'll try to do and develop stuff. What's that bottom card? I hate that you can't even see the hand for the previous turn, because technically you drew it 2 turns ago. The log is perpetually most annoying interface here. Discarded 2 coppers, played 4 coppers in the pasture, so it's definitely not a copper down there. I drew a copper on an estate, but I don't particularly know how many estates I had in hand last turn. I'm just gonna go ahead and play this. Oh, there's a Spice Merchant in the trash. I guess I'll play that then. Okay, that was actually a pretty good draw, all things considered. Yeah, this is getting places. And what am I gaining here? I'm thinking Ferryman develop is better than Border Village Ferryman. Yeah, I'll do that. I really want a second Shepherd in the deck, I think is a priority. 1 is not reliable, because if I don't find it, my hand ends up being really sad. And then, what would I ideally like to develop? Necromancer's not a terrible target. Probably Ferryman is a better target. Hello there. I have 2 Ferrymen, right? Yeah, clearly I do. So let's go ahead and draw a bunch of cards. Okay, got 3 victory cards down there. I would not mind just top decking a second Shepherd. So, for example, develop the Ferryman into a Shepherd into something, and then just leave the Shepherd on top. Yeah, I think I like that play. So let's do that. Shepherd. So I could just put a Fairgrounds on top already, and then I've got a hand of like Shepherd and 4 victory cards. That's not bad. I think I'd prefer to gain a Border Village. Typically, the Border Village, it comes with a free 5, and then I can Zombie Mason the Border Village into, say, a Fairgrounds that I actually want. Get another, maybe another Haggler. Stables might be more draw than I need right now. I'm going to err on the side of more draw. If I have Overdraw, I can gain develops with my develop and then play those develops and then accomplish a lot in a given turn. Alright, let's trash the top part of the deck. And I should think about also, I was definitely thinking about this as a single buy kingdom where you make most of your gains off of develop. But with Spice Merchant around, I could build a double province. And then double province with Hagglers in play, piles a bunch of stuff. Hmm. Yeah, I'm just gonna take another border village and a Haggler. And honestly, province already looks fine. With Shepherds in the deck, it's kind of a draw card. There's not a strong disincentive to adding it. Just province gain a border village gain a something. Let's do a nice little chain reaction. Province, border village, ferryman. I did a bunch of stuff, but it didn't look all that impactful. Resolves Ghost Town, plays a bunch of stables. Haggler, develop, buy a border village. Okay, it actually did more than I thought it did. Just goes by so quick. Okay. I think I ought to develop a Necromancer so that I get a second develop this turn. And then I might want to hang on to one of the Ferrymen, because that's also not a bad target. And this draw is not ideal. Got a lot of victory cards. Actually, are they? Most of my victory cards are already in my discard, aren't they? Let's go ahead and just trash another copper, I guess. Okay, well, that'll have to do. Okay, develop Necromancer into develop and stables. Let's draw. How am I doing? Once again, I got a bunch of victory cards on top. Not only victory cards, but a lot of them. So I wouldn't mind gaining a shepherd if I draw. Okay. So I think I'm just going to repeat this little thingamajig. Shepherd on top, gain a border village, gain a ferryman off the border village, play the haggler, trash the border village. Oh, is there a pasture in the trash is interesting. I wouldn't trash that. I think that's potentially worth a lot in the end game. At least gives you the threat of gaining a bunch of estates for points. I'll take a border village and stables. I have fairgrounds. Gain a ferryman. Tiles are pretty low, but I do have a point fleet, so that's a good thing for me. Tiles are very low. Be looking at a win this turn with a good draw. I'll also be looking at a dud with a bad draw. Okay, let's play the ferryman. Okay, what's a win look like here? Ferryman and Ghost Town, or Stables and Ghost Town, both look like good piles. For develop piling out purposes, it's really nice to have two piles that you're trying to lower that are two apart from each other, because it just means you can develop all the fours and get what you need. Yeah, this should, I think, be a pretty trivial win. Let's go ahead and draw a ton of cards. Might it already be in hand? Develop two Necromancers into Ghost Towns and Ferrymen by the last Ferryman. Yeah, that'll be a win. Can I do better than that? Suspect I might. So I got 3 4 cost cards. So what if the first one gains a duchy and a develop? And then I redraw the develop. And now the second one gains a ghost town and a ferryman and a ghost town and a ferryman. I'm not actually sure this is better. Comes with a duchy, but perhaps I could have gotten even more than a duchy out of the necromancer by playing it. Alrighty, there we go. Usually I feel like Hardbot is on the trash less side, and I'm complaining that it doesn't trash enough. Here, I think it over trashed. I wouldn't be trashing the estates of the pasture with Shepherd around. I think you just put a Shepherd in your deck and you deal with them.